Welcome to the Billy Shultz Music Podcast.
There we are. Hey, I can see you now. What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Yeah, if you haven't used Zoom in a while, it can be pretty confusing to get everything set up properly.
Yeah, I stayed with Skype all these past couple of years when Zoom took over.
Absolutely. I might have to switch back too because Zoom just started this thing where it limits meetings to like 40 minutes now, unless you pay for their
really?
you got to pay for like a premium plan or whatever. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Well, what's up, man? How are you?
Do that. All right. Pretty good. You?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you doing this, and thanks for taking the time to chat with me here. If you want to just start off, introduce yourself, explain what you do, how long you've been doing it, just give us some backstory on you.
So my name's Amar Alhoch. What I do is I just have fun with the guitar. That's really it. There's nothing so serious about it. I just enjoy doing this kind of thing, the guitar thing. So the way it started was just a couple years ago. I decided to start recording my practice videos. That's how it started. Like whatever I was working on, I would just record it and throw it up on Instagram. And luckily at the time, everyone was at home in quarantine. So I got a little bit of extra views on those videos. And that's really where it all started. And then from there, I just kind of kept it. I just kept that mindset, like everything is just for fun. Music is my escape. Guitar is my escape. So I'm going to keep it that way. I'm not going to turn it into work. I mean, whatever work comes from it, from like doing my own thing, that's cool. But I wasn't pursuing anything, if that makes sense. I wasn't like trying to be a session player. I was before, like in the past, but right now, like the past 2 years, that's when I stopped and everything just kind of went better that way. It's just more genuine,
Sure.
Find the right audience, do what you enjoy rather than what people want to see or what people want to hear. There's just so much out there. So I'm really for just doing your own thing, whatever that is, even if you just want to run some scales and exercises all day, nothing wrong with that. I mean, whatever brings you your own fulfillment, and just to me, it's like guitar's like meditation.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Makes you feel good. And there's an audience for everything.
Especially now, especially with the internet, TikTok, Instagram. I mean, everybody's looking for something. So it's awesome that you seem to have found an audience for yourself. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since I first picked up the guitar. 18 years since I first picked up the guitar. But I mean, it wasn't all consistent.
Sure.
So yeah,
I feel like that's most of us. I mean, same for me. I mean, I was 13 when I first picked up a guitar, but didn't really start getting serious about playing until honestly, probably right before the pandemic, on and off playing. I mean, as far as like genuinely trying to learn, I mean, I would play and, I played in bands for a while. And so like that was what kept me playing. But it was really when the pandemic happened when I really like wanted to buckle down and really learn like the art of the guitar, like become a guitarist instead of someone who just plays guitar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So your thing going on there with YouTube and all that, that's also around the same time?
Well, yeah. So I started the channel in 2017, and it was really just because like I knew that I wanted to create content, and I was trying to find a way to do that and find my audience as well. And I tried a bunch of different things, and it eventually just came around to where I was like, I like playing guitar, and there's endless songs. So why not at least to learn how to create content, learn how to edit and post. And let me just start with a simple tutorial channel. And luckily, the first few videos that I did, there were just songs that I was listening to at the time that I really liked, that I guess nobody really had tutorials on for, and those songs just became huge. So it kind of helped, kickstart the channel. And then I never thought that I would be here, 5 years later, still doing, this the way that I'm doing it. It's kind of like it just kind of fell that way. But even then, I mean, I was almost doing so many tutorials, and like I had moved. That was when I moved to California, which you're in California, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I moved here. And so in the middle of all that, I was still trying to keep up with the channel and, get a job and pay rent. And I ended up focusing more on just learning songs to teach them as opposed to really learning the guitar. You know what I mean? So when I had all the time when the pandemic happened, I was like, let me actually buckle down and really start learning this thing,
Yeah, totally. It's crazy how it happens. I mean, just like you were just doing your own thing, and then you kind of found what's working, and it was still something you enjoyed because it wasn't like you were like when you started, you probably weren't trying to get where you are right now, right? It's just kind of like
no, that was never the goal. I mean, I wanted to be able to make a living creating content. That was the goal. The tutorial thing was just because I was like, I didn't know what to do for content. I tried so many different things and it just seemed like I couldn't decide on something. And so I wasn't making enough content to even learn how to properly shoot videos, edit them, post them. And tutorials were just the easiest thing. Like, I love playing guitar. I know a few songs. I can just film it. And like, that'll be my way to really learn how to do this. And then, it just, it ended up working for me. And then, once something starts working, it's like, you got to stick with it, if you want it to continue to grow. So that's what I did. And, I'm glad that I did because it's been semi-successful, it's nothing crazy, but it's been a lot of fun,
Oh, your page looks great. Your channel looks great.
Thanks, man. I've been putting a lot of work into it. Same way when the pandemic happened, it's like nothing but time, to really to really work on everything.
I know, I'm one of the pros.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have any kind of like schooling or like music, like educational background when it comes to music, guitar, any of that?
Like formal?
Yeah.
I studied at University of California, Riverside for 4 years. So it was like theory, composition kind of based. It was kind of like a general kind of thing. But then in the last couple of years, I focused on jazz guitar. But I never got really too deep into the jazz stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it for some time, but after college, I think I just went back to my own thing. But I learned a lot from it, the whole jazz thing. It's more mental than physical. So I can really appreciate it. And I enjoy listening to it still, but just not what I enjoy playing.
Sure. Everyone's got their thing, and like that's a whole different world, the jazz world. I chatted with a guy a couple weeks ago for one of the podcasts who he's big into the jazz world, and the stuff that they play, man, it's incredible. You have to be insanely talented to be able to play some of that stuff.
Yeah, and the skill is just to kind of keep up mentally.
Mm-hmm.
All from here to here to here, and some of the changes are just crazy.
So when you got done with school, you were you pursuing, like, did you want to play in like groups or anything? Because I know that you're doing your own thing right now, right? You're not really performing with a group or playing with anybody else.
No, not right now. Well, when I first finished, I wasn't really sure. I was like, okay, now what? I guess I should have been thinking about it the whole time I was there, but then I get out, I'm like, okay, now what? So I started teaching for a bit. I did that for like 5 years at a music shop kind of thing. Not really my thing either. Just teaching, even though I've done a lot of these guitar tip videos on these short guitar tip things on my page, but I never really got too into the whole music store teaching format. It's the way it works and all that. Just not for me. I tried doing some session work also, but then I realized, like when I'm having my guitar time, I kind of want to play what I want, not what people want me to play. So then that was the end of that. And then I started to realize, like, hey, I don't like doing anything. So I'm just going to do my own thing and just see what happens. And that's what Instagram, social media, that's where it came in. And just having fun. And then it's like, I know there was a time when I was trying to get students just like doing those promotion, like on Facebook, promo posts, whatever it is, ads. It was really hard. And then I remember just deciding, like, forget all that. I even stopped teaching because I was like, it just wasn't fun anymore. So I just wanted to make music completely about me. So then I just would post my stuff, and then you start getting students coming to you rather than you trying to find them. And now it's like I could easily fill up a schedule, but I have it limited just to make time for all the other stuff I'm doing.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, that's a great part about building that audience, and finding that lane is that when you do, gain that kind of popularity is it does just kind of, those other opportunities will now fall pretty much into your lap at that point. So, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, obviously it's working for you, especially on Instagram. I looked at your Instagram, but are you having the same success on TikTok as well?
TikTok, not to the same level. It's just been, I haven't focused on it as much, but it hasn't been bad. I think it's at maybe 36, 35K. I'm not sure. Something like that. But
still,
I mean, it's
still
like,
pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Especially if we're not spending any time on it.
Right, exactly. I'm assuming you just post whatever you're posting to Instagram to TikTok as well. It's like the game plan.
That's really it. And then there's Facebook, YouTube Shorts, and now I'm starting to do some more. I'm trying to go back and do some more longer videos again, like full solos. Because I mean, ideally, that's kind of what I want to do. I just want to share fuller pieces of music, more complete, rather than 30 seconds, 20 seconds. So long term, I'd like to just focus more on creating music and less on whatever it is I'm doing right now.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so funny too, because I'll see so many guys who you seem to have, solid following on both TikTok and Instagram, but I see so many guys who'll have, 100,000 followers on one and less than 10,000 on another. And it looks like they're posting the same content. So it's just so interesting how the audiences for some people work, equally, and like you kind of get the same audience across both. And then for some, it's just one is way more successful than the other. It's really interesting how that works.
Yeah, it's definitely a different audience. Even like Facebook to Instagram to TikTok sort of started catching on, but you'll notice just from people's reactions and comments to whatever you're posting, you could tell the audience is completely different.
For sure. Now you have an album out too, right? That you wrote yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Talk to me a little bit about like what went into the album. Was that something that you'd been working on for a while, or I saw what you released last November. Is that when it was? Yeah.
And I started working on it, I want to say like maybe around March 2020. So it was a year and a half. Not consistently. I mean, there were some times where I wasn't focusing on it as much, but yeah, so it was about a year and a half. The whole idea was just to kind of explore these ideas in my head, the music in my head. And it was less about actually playing it, but more about just being able to listen back to whatever I'm imagining. And that's how it came to be. It was just sort of like a cinematic kind of vibe with some Middle Eastern grooves and then metal. It's like a mix of these things. And I didn't explore it fully, like to the extent I wanted to, but it was the first one. So, I mean, I learned a lot doing it, and I hope I have another album I'd like to get started on soon, which might be just kind of taking that to the next level.
Sure. And what's your writing process like? Because you're doing it all yourself, right? So you're just kind of like whatever's coming into your head, that's kind of what's coming out, that's coming out, that's being played. Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, it's always different. Sometimes I'll start with like a melody that I have in my head, kind of like that. Or sometimes it might be a rhythm and then go from there. Just kind of, I mean, if I have like a rhythm, guitar, drum thing going on, I'll just add the next part, the next layer, the strings, if there's like a choir going on, and then just kind of move along the way like that. But it's always different how it starts. Sometimes I'll kind of get the layout for it with the chords and all that going on, and then I'll just let it happen, whatever's inside my head. And oftentimes that's like the whole modal mixing scales kind of thing. That's what comes out.
Sure. And are you recording it all yourself, or do you go to a separate studio to do everything?
I recorded it all myself, but then I sent the tracks, the stems, to Mattias Ohlsson, Mo Metal Productions, and he did all the mixing and mastering. He did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, no, sounds incredible. Yeah, I listened to it, and it sounds professional for sure.
Yeah, he did really good. Um, Way better than I would have done. I was doing it on my own.
It's
So
so hard mixing your own stuff, man. Like I would never call myself a mixing engineer or, mixing or mastering engineer either, but I have mixed and mastered my own stuff, and like it's almost harder when it's yours because I've done it for other people too. And it's just harder for some reason
yeah,
when it's your own stuff, I feel like a lot of people share that same feeling,
yeah, because you kind of hear things a little more the way you want to hear them. I don't know. You know exactly what to look for, what you're listening for, and all that. I think that's why. But then when you have someone else who doesn't really know what you're going for and all that, you really gotta something that's not too noticeable in the mix. Like when you're doing it yourself, you'll just hear it, even though it's not that up front or however you want it to be.
Yeah,
Does that
it's
make
like
sense? I don't know.
no, absolutely. You get like hypercritical of like the smallest little details when
That too.
as someone from the outside who they probably wouldn't even notice the stuff that you're hearing. So that's probably part of it too. Is just over analytical instead of like being able to just step back and see the whole picture sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you started writing your next album, or you have ideas that you're kind of playing with?
A little bit of both. Ideas I'm playing with, and then little snippets I've wrote. I'd like to complete, but I'm kind of unsure where to take that one yet. I mean, I have an idea, but I have too many ideas. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would all go well in one album.
I know that feeling.
And then go from there, see what happens.
Absolutely. So what's your like plan? I know you said you want to make more like long form content for YouTube. Is that kind of what you're going to focus on in the future? Or are you sticking with the, cause like obviously what you're doing right now is working. So, I'm assuming you would stick with that a little bit while trying to incorporate the long form content, or what's your plan, for the future?
Yeah, a little bit of both. But mostly I kind of want to get to, so I'm going to start with a digital course soon that I want to release. And I want to have some digital courses going on because I get a lot of requests for lessons. And sometimes I feel like it's just more valuable to just put it all into the price of one lesson into a course and then be able to provide that and sell that. So that's like the near future. And then after that, it's really just the album. As for content, it's not too, I haven't planned anything out too much. I just kind of see whatever I'm feeling, but I would like to post some more longer stuff. If I keep feeling like it,
Right.
I feel like it today. We'll see tomorrow.
No, I love how your vibe is just like, it's literally whatever I feel like doing today. Like that's, it seems very like super free, you know what I mean? Very laid back.
Yeah. Because then once you start like, eventually becomes work, and I don't want it to become work. Mm-hmm. And not making it work has been the best decision I've made for this kind of thing, the whole music thing.
Sure. And like if you're like me, it takes the creativity out of it. When I start feeling like it's something I have to do, it's any of the creativity that I have surrounding it just gets totally deflated.
Yeah, so true. Sometimes I have to remind myself to kind of calm it down, go back to sometimes you just start keeping it simple, and you start to think too much about it with the numbers and all that stuff, and it just kind of goes downhill.
Right. I mean, the biggest thing is consistency. I mean, if it's like that's anytime someone like asks me about, advice when it comes to stuff like this, I'm like, just consistency, just create, whatever you love to do, find out how to film it, find out a way like you're doing to do it with where it doesn't feel like you're working. It feels like you're just doing it to have fun, but be consistent with it, because if you're good and people like what you do, then the audience will come.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about just doing what you enjoy. Otherwise, you're not going to be consistent. I think that's how it started for me, because I created I started posting maybe 5-6 years ago. I don't know, but it wasn't really about what I wanted to play. So then the consistency was just terrible. Like some days I'd be like, hey, maybe this will be cool for maybe people will like this, maybe people will like that. and that just didn't work. Eventually I was like, who cares what anyone likes? Just do what I enjoy, and there's an audience for everything.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's what you have to do. Cause again, you're just not going to be motivated to continue to put out content. So you don't really like plan your content at all. You just kind of like whatever you're thinking in the moment, you get the idea for it and kind of film it, or is there like a method to it at all?
It's not too complicated. I just come up with an idea, and then I decide what to play. Because I'm gonna play anyway.
Right. You're like,
what would fit this kind of idea? Like something more melodic, something straight up shred, just that kind of thing. But nothing too planned out, and just kind of whatever I feel. But I have like different ideas, and then once it's time to come up with a video, I'll pick one and just kind of figure out how to present the idea.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I love that. That feels like it's so freeing. You know what I mean? Like whatever I feel like doing right now, whatever. Like, yeah, I had this idea yesterday. Oh, I could do that for this. Let's just film it today. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal. I think I moved away from that. I was doing a lot of guitar tips for a while. So I was always like, what guitar tip next? What guitar tip? And now I'm just more like whatever I feel like doing again, which has been nice. I feel like it's not all about, with the guitar tips, there's only so much you can play. It's gotta make sense with whatever you're talking about. But then with the other stuff, you're a little more free to actually play a solo, or rather than just demonstrating a technique or whatever.
Right. And when it comes to like tips and stuff like that, it's like, what hasn't already been said 1,000 times, like what hasn't already been taught, because that's being in like the tutorial side of things, that's where I kind of ran into too, is like, I don't want to do tutorials on kind of like you, like on songs that I don't really care about, but also on songs that already have 1,000 tutorials for them, Yeah, exactly. So that's where it was hard, it was a challenge to try and find that lane of like, and luckily for me, it was the audience that told me what they wanted to hear. And that's what kind of guided me to the songs that I was doing, that I realized, wow, yeah, nobody else is doing tutorials on these songs. And so it's really like the audience that kind of guided me to that. So I don't know if you have like people in the comments, like asking for different types of videos or something, and that kind of gives you ideas. But for me, that was a big thing.
Yeah, that does help a lot sometimes. Whether it's positive or negative, I enjoy taking whatever's negative and turning it into something positive. That's always fun.
Hell yeah.
So whatever side the comments on, you can use that to create content.
Talk to me about your course a little bit. Is it what's going to come into the course when you have it ready?
Or like what's it going to be about?
Yeah, like what's going to be what's it going to cover?
So it's gonna be shred. I'll say that, but it's gonna be through a publisher. So I'm not sure how much I can even share right now.
Okay.
Whatever, the publisher will kind of be in charge of all that and distributing it, all that. So the publisher will be taking care of all that stuff.
Fair enough. Do you have a date in mind at all that you can share, or is that also like that you're gonna release it?
The goal is going to be, the goal is this summer, but that never really works, right?
Yeah, it always gets delayed.
Timeline, yeah. So hopefully this summer, but we'll see.
Sure.
Once I start recording, I kind of planned it out already. So once I start recording, I could probably knock it out pretty quick, the recording process. Then there's just the editing, and then whatever, just making sure everything's good with the publishing and all that stuff.
Hell yeah. Yeah, keep me updated because I'd like to check it out whenever it's ready.
Yeah, definitely. I'll let you know.
So this is something I started asking people too, is what's one thing that you would, cause I got a lot of beginners on the channel. So like, what's one of the biggest pieces of advice you could give to somebody who's like just starting out, just learning, just starting out on the guitar?
Honestly, you got to have fun. That's what I tell everyone. And you got to enjoy every step of it. Some people see it as, so a lot of people want to be able to play guitar, but they don't actually want to sit there and go through it. And that's fine. Like that's okay. But it's not gonna go. You're not gonna go from, just starting out to an advanced player or reach the place you want to be if you don't enjoy the process. So I will say, like, focus on what you enjoy. If that's songs, if that's exercises, whatever. Because as soon as you kind of start focusing on the things that you don't really want to do, then the practice goes down. You don't pick up the guitar as much. You got to feel motivated to pick up the guitar. You got to want to pick it up. And that's really my best advice, to just make it fun. And that was when I used to teach. What I would always try to do is just get students playing. So most people, when they first want to learn guitar, it's just because they want to play songs that they listen to or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to just play those songs, get to playing those songs as quickly as possible. Usually I always try to get students playing melodies and songs within it by like week 2, so that they can start to kind of hear music coming out of the instrument. And I think that's the most inspiring, when you see yourself making the music that you've listened to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And at the beginning, man, it's so crucial because your fingers hurt and you're not getting it, and you're frustrated.
Yeah.
And so that's great advice, is just find a way to have fun with it, because the beginning is the most frustrating part.
Yeah. And just be like inspired. Everything you see, everything you hear. There's 2 ways to look at it. Some people will get inspired when they see someone better. Then different people watching the same thing will be discouraged. So just about being inspired by everything you see. Whatever someone has done is just a possibility for you.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. Great advice. Well, look, brother, we're running up against the time a little bit here. Do you want to drop like socials or anything that's coming up? I know you're not playing live or anything, but if you want to shout out your social media or anything for anybody who's watching, where they can find you, where they can follow you.
Yeah, sure. Instagram is my main platform. It's just my name, Amar Alhoch. And then there's TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. It's all the same name, same username. So you could find me there. And all updates, usually Instagram, I'll post more updates just because of the story kind of format, where I don't have to make a video for everything. So Instagram's a good place. And then aside from that, YouTube, I've been kind of picking up on that. It's been going well. So wherever anyone wants to follow or not follow, whatever you want.
Well, look, man, I appreciate it again. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me. And it's been awesome. I'm going to keep up with you. Let me know when you got some information about the course, because like I said, I'll definitely check it out.
Thank you. Will do.
All right, brother. Take care. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Take care.